Hey team, this is Luke with Crusader Machining, back for another fantastic Friday video. Today, we're going to be covering quality. Specifically, a few quality instruments that I would like to touch on. In the world of CNC machining and machining in general, quality is the name of the game. We are precision machinists. We're not plumbers and carpenters. We make everything to rigorous quality standards. That being said, the instruments that we use are very critical. Some of them are a little bit more specialized than others, but all of them, even the simpler one, from the simple ones to the very complicated specialized ones, they all have their place in a different shop. Whether or not you're using dial calipers to sophisticated air bore gauge or CMMs. Quality is the name of the game. And as you can see here, teamwork makes the dream work. That sign is about 25 years old and it's very faded from being in the sun and traveled around with a lot of people throughout the world. As a reminder, teamwork makes the dream work. Now back on track. Let's get right to it. We're gonna hop into this video about quality control. So the first topic that we're gonna cover in our deep dive down into quality control measurement instruments, we're gonna cover three instruments today. Three methods of inspection, let's say. The first one that we're gonna cover is gonna be what I like to call a micrometer, AKA micrometer. So here's your analog, standard Mitutoyo 0 to 1. That's a great tool. What I like to use for several reasons is a Mitutoyo digital, what I call a quick mic. Boom, 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 quick mic. Now, A, these are expensive. Number two, I was able to find them for a pretty good price on the old eBay secondhand store. I try to go to the secondary market whenever I can. Certain things you don't want to buy from there, AKA food. You really don't want to do that if you don't have to. Measuring equipment from a reputable source, 2 thumbs up. 0 to 1 inch, actually this is a 0 to 1.2 Mitutoyo digital mic. I like this because it reads down to the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decimal places. I like it for these reasons. It easily reads down to the 10th and then down to the half a tenth. We don't ever use half a tenth, but I like to see where stuff is at. I don't want to just see it to the 1,000th. And although an analog will do the trick, it's hard to beat the digital mic. So I'll get a lot of people out there saying, oh man, you're fake. You're cheating because you don't want to use an analog. Call me what you want. I've been called worse. I like using a digital because it goes down to the 10th easily. Second reason, we get a lot of new trainees coming in and out of the shop. Well, not really new, but we get some students that I hire in from the college. They don't know how to read an analog. We will train them on that. They're going to be able to read it. But when it comes to a production shop that needs to inspect parts constantly, I'm going to choose the 0 to 1.2 Mitutoyo quick mic. Digital micrometer, never had issues with it. Although it is expensive, we're able to find it for a good price on eBay. Now let's go into the second aspect. We're going to go into that right now. So for this portion, you can see we're going to be a little more up close and personal. For checking bores, and I don't mean by a bore plus or minus 5 thou, plus or minus 10 thou. We could easily use calipers for that, or just a simple functional go and no-go gauge. And the go and no-go, we still use them. But if I have a tolerance on a bore that's say 5/10, plus or minus 2.5, plus or minus 3/4, a functional go gauge is not going to be as accurate. Will it work? For sure. It will tell you if the go passes. But the problem is, if your bore's a little bit on the low side of that tolerance, it could still be good, but the go gauge doesn't want to pass. So therefore, I introduce you to the Sonnen bore gauge. Little heavy. I like this. I absolutely love it. Grew up with these. It's kind of like that cousin you never met, but you still love. This is a gauge that I've used for a long time. Now Sonnen, for a little brief history of the company, they make honing tools. honing machines. Some honing machines that they make actually have the sounding gauge right on it. This one is a tabletop, as you can see, is it sitting on top of the table, and I can check my part easily with one hand, and it's got this little indicator here. I hope you can see. It's got this little indicator here. Well, yeah. Oh, we're way off there, but there we go. Had to get it placed well. It's got the indicator little needle that's going to tell you where you're at on the part. So there I'm dead center. This particular part is a 1 thou tolerance. That was a pretty bad way to show it, but when you put your part on here, you adjust. I'm all over the place. You adjust your fingers here for your bore size. This side can go from 740 up to 1.5. The back side can go from 370 up to 740. And they do have extensions that you can add onto here to even go larger if you want. So you set the bore gauge according to your part on the print, to your dimension on the print, and it's a 3-point gauge. And as you put it on, and you could use a little dial here, or this little stop can move in to check different depths of bore, different bore depths, as you can see. Set the gauge to where you want it, set the depth to where you want it, and this will tell you where it's at within a 1/2 tenth. So your 0.0001 is a tenth. Yeah, it'll give you down to a 1/2 tenth. And I like it because with it being a tabletop, you can easily just use one hand to check it, and you don't need like a 3-point bore gauge to check by hand. Sometimes those can be a little hard to finagle when you're in production if you're not used to it. Sun and bore gauge is very user-friendly, very easy to adjust. And once you adjust it, you lock it, it's very hard to move out. So for the second piece of equipment, sun and bore gauge for checking your critical bores, that's really what I like. 2 thumbs up, 100%. Let's move on to the third and final section of this video. Now, for the third and final section of this video, I want to introduce to you the CMM, Coordinate Measuring Machine. For years and years, we did not have one, and there was a couple reasons why we got one. The first one, we needed it. We kept having to run across town to go to a customer to check a part, blah, blah, blah. They didn't mind, we didn't mind, but it was about time that we pulled the trigger on one. What a CMM can check, although it's not quote unquote everything that certain people say, let's take a part like this. It's a spherical bearing that we're making, and this dimension here, they want to ensure that the center of the sphere, or the centering of the sphere is like plus or minus 5/10 or 1/1000 or something like that. So you want to make sure the direct center of your sphere is equal from one face to the other, or from face to center, face to center. Another one that they want is to ensure that this is a full spherical radius, like a full diameter, not like a football shape or something like that. So we're able to check that with video or optical comparator, which we might go over in a different video, but the CMM does it all. The CMM can check our overall length face to face, can check those dimensions on the OD I was talking about, can check the bore diameter, not just the diameter, but roundness and taper. Then it can do all that fancy CMM magic and tell us the runout from bore to OD, perpendicularity of the bore to the face, etc., etc., etc. So for a part like this and others, a CMM will work out wonderfully. So right now, I'm going to show you a quick little clip of our CMM checking that part. Now, the cycle time on a CMM is a little bit different. When I was rewind back a few minutes when I was at the bore gauge, my time to check it is a few seconds. This cycle time, I think, was between 12 to 15 minutes. We're not going to wait that long. Through the magic of GoPro, we're able to speed it up to about 35 seconds. So in a moment here, you're going to see the clip of our CMM running. And there you have it. It's a CMM, coordinate measuring machine. And that concludes this video. So just for a brief recap, we touched a little bit on quality. We didn't start from the beginning. We went along the route of what is 3 measuring instruments that I would strongly advise you use. This has to do with accuracy, and if you were to say like gauge R&R, for all you ISO heads out there, gauge repeatability and reproducibility, and accuracy of that dimension. For instance, the bore we had to check was a 1 thou tolerance, 0.001. You want to make sure that your gauge is able to inspect within 10% of that total tolerance. In this case, with the sun and bore, it'll be able to check 1/20th of that because it can check to a 1/2. So with this gauge, we are right where we would want to be for the right type of gauge to check it, if you're speaking quality standards. Furthermore, there's 3 gauges that I like to use. I think that a digital micrometer, sun and bore gauge, and a CMM are all great instruments if you want to ensure quality. And remember, quality is what we do. Teamwork makes the dream work. So once again, this is Luke with Crusader Machining signing out. Please like, subscribe, share the video with your friends, family, and colleagues if you can. It helps to get the message out. You can find me at Crusader Machining on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and of course here at the YouTube. Thank you for watching, signing out, and we will see you next time.